Okay, let's see if I can help you here. So these are both 6x6s. I like the coloring on this one better, but this one has the same coloring. It's just that they're more vivid colors. So this is the situation I think you have. I'll get these out of the way just for a minute. I think this is the situation you have. You have, of course, all your centers done. You have all of your edge pieces put together. So there's 4 pieces making up each. We'll call that an edge, because that's comparable, like on a 3x3, just to one edge. And there's just one edge with its corner that hasn't been inserted yet. And that's where you're having some issues. So I believe what you said was if the cube is yellow on top, orange at front. Is that what you said? Yeah, and it doesn't matter, and blue at the right. These are the pieces we're concerned about. This is the corner, the green, white, orange that goes down here, and this is the edge piece. These other corners don't matter at all, so don't pay any attention to it. If your corner here is a different color, it doesn't matter, because when we're doing these F5L, all that matters is whatever this corner piece should be and whatever this edge should be. So that's just these pieces here. Now, you said these are in a line, and I asked you, are they in a line this way, so they're on top of the blue, or are they in a line this way, so they're on top of the orange? I know you said the white's up, and the orange is up on the orange green, and the orange is up on that. Now, like on this one, it looks like this corner is more right than this one, but it doesn't matter right now. It just happened to be that way. All that you need to worry about right now is this corner piece and these edges. Excuse me, and they go down here. Because on this cube too, you've got all of the centers done, you've got all of the edges done except for this one, and you need to insert these to here. So I don't know if you have this case where these are together this way, or this case where they're together this way. But the point is going to be the same. And now I don't want to confuse you, but if you do the 3x3, since we're basically on these now to the 3x3 reduction step, these are the same as this. So on a 3x3, this one, for example, we have all of the edges done, edge pairs, except for this one, which is this piece. This corner goes down here, and this edge that goes there. Again, we don't need to worry about anything else on top. We don't care about this corner right now. We don't care about these other corners. But these two are together. And this is similar, but these two are together going that way. So I'm not sure which case you have, but the point will be the same. And I'll show you first on the 3x3. So basically what we want to do when, at least when I do my F2L pairs, is I need these two operative pieces to be apart. They can't be touching. Excuse me, and I like to keep the white on top. So what we need to do is separate these somehow without affecting any of the edges we have done. And remember, it doesn't matter if we affect the rest of the top, because that doesn't matter right now. So what I do to start with is I figure out how can I move this piece out of the way without affecting any edge that's solved. So if I were to, let's say, move it on top of where it needs to go, if I then tried to move it out of the way, let's say move it that way just for a minute, I'm going to be messing up this pair that's solved, so I don't want to do that. If I move it this way, however, and let's say these are the two I want to separate, if I move it out of the way that way, that's not messing up anything on this level. So I can do that. So let's do this again. So I'm going to move this out of the way just for a minute. so that I can rotate the top slice. And it doesn't matter how much I rotate it now because nothing matters except for this piece. So let's just rotate it once to separate these and then bring this back up. So what I've done is I've kept white on top for the corner. I've separated these two pieces and I've not disturbed any of the other F2Ls that were done. So now we're good to go. And the way I do it when the piece is on top, sorry, man, I'm losing my voice. The white is on top is I find the piece, the edge piece that goes with it. So in this case here, I turn it so these colors match. So you wouldn't want to turn it this way because the orange and the green don't match there. So they match there. Whatever color this is orange. So here's the orange face. I move the slice away from that. I rotate so the white piece is on top of what I just moved. And then I move it back. And so now we haven't disturbed, again, anything else that we'd already done. And they're now lined up exactly like we want. And on top of the corner where they go, and we just do the regular insert, which is how I do that like that. And so that has solved all of the F2L. And then we go to all of the yellow cases. All right, so by the same token on this one, excuse me, the concept is the same thing. We want to separate these two. So if we move this way to separate it, we're going to be messing up this. So we don't want to do that. If we move it on top of where this hasn't been solved, and we move it down, we're going to be rotating this, but we're going to be messing up this. So we don't want to do that. So let's try this one. If we do that and we move it down for a minute, okay, that's not been solved. So it's okay if that's on top. So now let's just, so what have I done? So we're going to move this out of the way just for a minute. We're just going to move the top so that we get this from being here because we don't want these together anymore, and we move that back up. Now we've separated these two and we haven't disturbed any of the pieces that were together. So we solve this as normal. And again, what I do when the white is on top is I find what the color is on the side. So I align those, and then I orient it so that whatever this color is facing me, and I move this away. I move the top slice so that white corner is on top of what piece I just moved, and I move it back. And we haven't messed up anything, and we've aligned these two together. Now we just insert them as per normal. So that's how you would do it on a 3x3, and then you go to the yellow cases. So the same is, it's exactly the same for the 6x6, since we're treating it into the 3x3 reduction at this point. So we have these. In this case, we want these to be separated. So if we move this down to be able to rotate the U, that's not going to separate them, so that's not what we want. So let's just rotate it one. Let's see if we move that. Okay, so we're finding anywhere we move this way, it's not going to separate those. So what we need to do is we need to move not this slice, but just this one so we can move this separately. So if we move this out of the way, that separates them, so that's good, but we're bringing this solved edge up and we are going to mess it up. So we don't want to do that. So, and this will become more obvious to you the more times you do it. I'm kind of just running through the cases that don't work so you can understand if you see that, then to try something else. So this time they're still together. This one will move this way. See if, okay, that separates them, so that's good. Now, has that brought a corner up that we don't want and a side up that we don't want to worry about? No, it's fine. It hasn't been solved. So that's good. So we can do that. So again, they're together there. We want to separate them. This hasn't been solved. So if we bring this up that way by moving that down. We can rotate this, and it doesn't matter what we've rotated. So, and we can rotate it, you know, as many times as we want. Just once to get it separated is fine, and then move this back up. So what we've done is we've separated those. We've not disturbed anything that was done. And now we can insert just like we normally do. And again, the way I like to do it when the white's on top is I find the piece on the side that's colored the same as the face, and I align it. I figure out what color that is, find its face and go against it, move the opposite way, rotate the white corner on top of it and bring it back. And then they're all lined up perfectly. So you can just do your regular insert. And your cube probably won't be solved at that point. But since I had to set this up for you, that's just the way that turned out. But now, like on the 3x3s, you would do whatever cases you need to for the yellow. And then finally this case, I mean, it's really exactly the same in concept. It's just that these are together this way, which instead of on the side like this. So what we want to do is find a way where we can separate these, rotate the top without messing up something that's been done. So clearly if I move this way, we're going to be messing up something that's already done. So we don't want to do that. So if we go over here and try this, let's see if we move that way. Nope, same thing. That's been solved. We don't want to mess with that. So let's try this one more time. And what you'll eventually see is that you're moving it so that you know the piece you're moving is the unsolved. And so you won't have to go, you know, a piece at a time. But like I said, showing you what doesn't work also helps you know what does work. So this time if we try to move this white piece out of the way, then that's good because we're not messing up anything. So we can just rotate you once to get these edge pieces out of the way and bring the white back up. We haven't messed up anything that was already solved. And we've separated those pieces. I might just add, let me see if I can undo that. So when that was like that, since we want to keep white on top, you don't have to, but that's the case I like. You want to always move when you're moving the white so that when you move it back, white's still on top. You could move it that way, and that will separate these. You couldn't do it here because that messes up this edge, but you could do it here, and that's perfectly fine. But then when they're separated, you're not going to have white on top. You're going to have a different case, which is fine. I mean, you can solve that just like you can solve other F2L cases, but I like it with white kept on top. So I always like to move it so when I separate these and then move that back, white's still on top. Okay, now they're separated. We want to find this color, which is green. Orange is on top, so we want to move this slice away from the orange. We want to rotate the top so that corner piece is on top of that edge that we just did and bring it back. And then we just have your regular case of solving that corner. And then you're left to do your yellows. And there's lots of different cases for yellow. This would be the yellow bar. This, of course, is solved. This would be what I call blinkers, I think, where these two, you've already got the yellow cross. These two are on that side. Might be chameleon, I can't remember. And this one would be soon, twice, or there's just these three, or an anti-soon this way. But I'm sure you know how to do those, or I have videos on each of the individual kinds of cases that you could get at the yellow stage, and what works for the 3x3 works for this too. So I hope that helps.